Good morning, good people. I brought my coffee out this morning, so cheers. I just want to do a follow on from yesterday. I'm doing a part two on the Norway situation. There was so much stuff, so I'm doing a part two really. So following on, did you know that Norway exports tap water? It's hard to make up some of the stuff that they do. Their tap water mostly comes from glaciers and natural springs. It needs next to no filtering, and they have a very what they call a high class luxury branded tap water called Voss water that they market all around the world. It's unbelievable. It's quite amazing. But I suppose there's a downside for a lot of you, and this includes me, as I do like the odd drink now and again. Alcohol is very expensive, massively so. It's not so bad if you're a resident in Norway because they have such good wages. They have a minimum wage of $25 an hour. So if you're a resident there, it's not really such a problem. But if you're a visitor or a tourist to Norway, you do need to take plenty of money with you. It is an expensive country to visit. I would imagine, looking at the scenery and everything that there is to see and the history of it, I should imagine it's a fantastic place to go. I'd like to think that I'll be able to go one day and have a look. It'd be nice. But yes, that is one of the factors. There's no point me coming on here and just telling you all the good things. People need to have the sort of full picture, I suppose. Again, one of the things they do, which I think is really down to fantastic management, they actually have what they call a wealth fund. There's about $1 trillion in it, and it's used for the people as a crisis fund. It equates to about $192 per resident in the event of any sort of crisis that may come along. It means that the government then doesn't have to borrow money to get people through any difficult times. I suppose if they have some sort of disaster, or perhaps even maybe, I don't know whether it was maybe used during the pandemic or anything like that, but any sort of event like that, they have this trust fund of $1 trillion that is used to help residents. Whereas most of the rest of the world will probably, in those situations, rely on probably having to borrow. But again, this just shows the great management of the country. Another downside to it for me, but then again, not necessarily a downside. If you're an environmentalist and you support green issues, it'd probably be a good one for you. Although they're an oil producing country, massive, that's their biggest thing. If you have a petrol or a diesel car in Norway, to fill your car up, it's probably the most expensive place in the world to fill up with petrol or diesel. I believe the reason this is done is they're also the country that has the highest amount of electric vehicles on the roads. For an oil producing country, it seems a bit hypocritical really, I suppose, but they're very big on green issues, massive. So I think what they do is they put a hefty price on petrol and diesel to encourage people to switch. There is more electric cars and vehicles on the roads in Norway than anywhere else per head of resident in any part of the world. So, you can look at that two ways. A lot of money to fill my car up, but if you're a person that is passionate about the environment, it's you can see it as a positive. But it's got to be said, it's probably the most expensive place to go. So if you was to travel there and you went in your vehicle, it's worth knowing that I think it's about $7 a gallon, something like that. I think it costs to fill your car up. But they are big on all sorts of environment issues. Although oil is their main focus. That they have lots of wind farms, solar panels. They're very big on hydroelectric and whatnot. Again, because of the nature of and the geography of the country, they have many resources, which is good, but it's still got to be said that the main part of how Norway runs, it's the efficient management of it that I'm trying to get across to people. And while it's fair to say not all countries, even if they had as good a management, might not be in the same position as Norway, because they are fortunate to have all these resources and everything. They constantly have a growing economy, because of the resources and the good management. It's a combination of the two things, really, and both go hand in hand, and it's important. Another good one, if you say a Green campaigner, is they were the first country to ban the cutting down of trees. They see this, obviously trees are an important part of the environment in terms of taking carbon out of the air, and so it's illegal to cut trees down. I'm sure that there's places that have to cut trees down. I suppose if trees become rotten or I'm sure there must be some. I'm sure there'll be some sort of procedure that they'll have to go to get permission to do that, because they are quite a strict country in that sense. But it's like a code of practice that they have there, and everybody. It almost seems like the population are all on board with whatever the government seems to do, and they work hand in hand. Like I said yesterday, they've got the happiest people on the planet. That it's quite an amazing. It's been an amazing subject to research. I found, out of everything I've done, I suppose I found it very interesting, eye-opening, really, and sometimes a little bit hard to believe. But again, like I've said to people, don't just take my word for these things. It's you can go out there and research these things yourself. There's no end of stuff on YouTube. There's lots of videos about Norway. Some give you the positives, some give you the negatives. It's got to be said. But if you look for the information that you're looking for, and I think as a selling point, it's just fantastic. But anyway, that's my thoughts on it. And again, like I said yesterday, it needs to be a model that other countries around the world ought to follow. I sort of truly believe that. I really do. But anyway, that's it for this morning. Again, if you've liked the content, if you've liked the content, do us a like, please, and if you can subscribe, and share it if you can. And let's hopefully have a nice day. So take care, everybody. Goodbye.